I want to welcome you back to another episode of Bob Montego. If you're like me, that get mixed feelings every year at Christmas time, you are in the right place. Every year, as it approaches Christmas, I generally have these complex feelings that has to do with either just a general feeling of being sad or just melancholy memories of Christmas. My earliest recollection of Christmas actually are, my father was born in St. Anne, Brownstown, St. Anne to be exact. I'm from Western Jamaica. So every year, every Christmas, I would be sent up to Brownstown to actually spend the Christmas. Those were wonderful Christmas for me because Brownstown is very high up in the St. Anne parish. It's very cool. Gets very foggy during that time of year. It's has chilly breeze during the daytime when the sun is supposed to be hot, and it has one of the most wonderful what they call grand market night. That's the night before Christmas. What we call Christmas Eve. They have this huge event of people from the evening of Christmas Eve, dressed up and walking round and round and doing different things, eating food, dancing to music, going to the movies, just moving around, playing games like Crown and Anchor, which is a dice game you shake and you get your winnings, or card games. I think one of those games we call them three-card Monty or something like that. But there's lots of activities. You would move around, and you would do that from the evening of Christmas Eve all the way back to morning the next day. And most times we stay till morning. Because you're either afraid to go home because it's dark, and for us, we didn't want to walk past the cemetery, and so we would kind of hang out until morning. But that's generally what they do. But it's one of the best things you'd ever experience at Christmas. One of the best kind of Christmas. But and then New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, rather, they had this very funny. My grandparents, at least, had this huge. It had a huge impact on me. I can still remember this thing where they make egg punch. It's really eggnog, but it's warm, and you drink it in a teacup. They do it the night before the New Year's Eve. It's beaten eggs, and they add rum, vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, rose water. They add condensed milk, sweetened, and it's very nice and creamy, and they drink it warm. But one of the strangest things, they would normally put out like 2 cups for the ancestors. Believe it or not. Leave a comment. Tell me if this is something you do or did back in your hometown or your village or your grandparents or wherever. They would put out 2 cups for the ancestors also. And the saying goes that if they did not do that, if they broke the tradition every year, at any time broke the tradition, then the ancestors would throw stones at the roof, on the rooftop. Or you'd hear them wailing and moaning in the nighttime all throughout the night, and you wouldn't get any sleep. That was one of the strangest things. But it was one of the highlights of the of my spending Christmas with my grandparents. And that would go on until we drank everything. But as kids, we would hide and watch. Our grandparents would tell us go to bed, but we'd hide and watch it to see if our ancestors, quote unquote, would come out and drink those things. Of course, in the morning you woke up and everything was gone. But I never found out. But tell me in the comment section if this is something you practice. I know it has to be a cross between the Irish, because Brownstown is a very Irish town. You can see places with names like Buxton, Dumbarton, Tricey, Stanfast, Belfast, Westland Corner. Um, those places are very popular places in Ireland, and it would also be mixed with the Ghanaian part of us, because Jamaicans are generally largely descendants of Africa. Different places in Africa, but more so in Ghana. We've preserved the traditions of Ghana more so than any other part of the continent. But but so that accounts for my melancholy mood every year. But also, for those of us that have families, and the families have lived apart, or going through conflict that sometimes are not even necessary, you know, and sometimes as family, there's um, there's so much missed opportunities to make the things that are supposed to be wrong, right, and for me it brings real sad feelings for me, because I'm very family oriented. I look out for my family. I do all I can for my family, and you sometimes don't get recognized enough, or what you get instead is accusations of things, and so forth. Enough said, though. But that's part of my melancholy mood. But all in all, I usually approach Christmas always saying, "Oh, I don't want to get into Christmas is too commercial. I don't want to get into it or anything like that." But then, as the music start playing, your mood change, and everything just change, and it just you start feeling a sense of warmth, and nostalgia, and feelings you just can't explain. But you know drop a comment, tell me how your Christmas is, your best memories of Christmas. Tell me if you have strange traditions that you have not yet been able to explain up until now. Um, let me know. And as you enjoy the Christmas, please remember, if you have opportunities to make it right with family members or friends who are not talking to you, or have not been on good terms with you, take the opportunity, because I want to tell you something. When you start getting to a certain age, you cross 40 or 50, you are getting ready to leave this earth, believe it or not, whether or not you want to think of it that way. That's how it is. You start getting ready to leave this earth, and the worst thing is to ever leave dying. I was a medical assistant for many years, and I watched many people pass off, and I watched many people lay on the hospital bed on their back, looking in the ceiling, hoping to see people. They turn their eyes, hoping to see a family member come, and nobody comes, because they've been on bad terms with the family, and they didn't get a last minute to say their goodbyes as they're laying there in the bed. So make it right. Enjoy your Christmas for what it's worth. It's not a perfect holiday, but make it the best you can, and enjoy yourselves. And thanks for watching. And if you have not yet done so, please like, share, subscribe, and tell someone about my videos. And thank you again for watching.